The pain of loss can be a watershed. When a man of high value decides to move away, he doesn't just leave a void in his absence. He awakens an intense reflection on the impact his presence had. Have you ever felt that you've lost someone irreplaceable? In today's video, we're going to explore what happens in a woman's mind and heart when she realizes she has lost someone who was self-sufficient, upstanding, and emotionally strong. Imagine the initial shock, followed by the overwhelming desire to reconnect, the lingering memories, and finally, the painful realization that he is irreplaceable. Stay until the end and discover how these dynamics reveal profound truths about loss, personal growth, and emotional strength. Without further ado, let's get started. The shock of loss, when reality changes drastically. When a woman realizes that she has lost a high-value man, the first impact is a profound shock. It's not just a passing emotion, but an overwhelming wave that forces her to see what was previously hidden. Imagine the constant presence of someone who didn't have to chase you, but who lived with purpose and balance. When that man walks away, something inside her breaks. It's not just the physical absence that makes itself felt. It's the absence of the emotional strength and security that he silently provided. Suddenly, she realizes how little things in her daily life have changed. Perhaps it's the lack of someone who always did what he said, of a firm support during difficult times, or even the comfortable silence he brought. What once seemed guaranteed, his reassuring words, his consistency, is now a void that is hard to ignore. These changes are felt in unexpected places, when facing challenges alone, remembering his presence at dinners, on trips, or even in the small conversations that filled the day. This absence forces her to face an uncomfortable truth. She never valued him as she should have. The realization that her actions and words contributed to this estrangement awakens a whirlwind of emotions, sadness, regret, and even a sense of helplessness. Questions begin to arise that won't leave her alone. What did I do to get to this point? Why didn't I realize your value before? These doubts become a constant echo in her mind, pulling her into a cycle of regret and introspection that seems endless. More than that, the woman realizes that it's not just the loss of the man himself that hurts, but also the loss of what he represented. His presence was a symbol of stability, purpose, and strength, characteristics that now seem unattainable. It's like losing an invisible pillar that supported aspects of her life that she had never noticed. This absence is not only painful, it leaves her in an emotional maze, struggling to understand how and why it happened. This impact doesn't disappear quickly. It can persist for weeks, months, or even longer, influencing her decisions, her mood, and her interactions. Each day seems to bring a new layer of understanding about the depth of the loss, making it an emotional journey that, although difficult, forces her to face her own choices and lack of attention to details that previously seemed insignificant. Prisoner of memories. When the past won't let go. When a woman loses a man of high value, it's not just his absence that haunts her, but also the vivid memories of everything they shared. These moments become persistent echoes, resonating in her mind almost relentlessly, reminding her of what was and what could have been. Small gestures, like the tone of his voice when he gave her advice, the way he looked at her, or even everyday conversations, take up a disproportionate amount of space in her thoughts. Each memory is like an emotional rope that binds her to him, stretched between the present and the past, making the estrangement even more painful. The more she tries to free herself from these memories, the more they seem to squeeze her, forcing her to relive moments that are now unattainable. This cycle of memories not only intensifies the pain of loss, but also contributes to an almost inevitable idealization. His faults are minimized, while his positive qualities take on epic proportions. He becomes, in her mind, a symbol of everything she wanted, but didn't know how to value. What was once just everyday now becomes extraordinary, and the woman begins to wonder if she will ever find someone again who makes her feel the same way. This idealization creates barriers to moving forward, as she feels she is comparing everyone to the shadow of a man who, in her memory, is perfect. These persistent memories also affect practical aspects of her life. Everyday objects, such as a mug he used to use, a song he played when they were together, or even the restaurant they used to go to, become emotional triggers that make the process of getting over it difficult. Friends in common may casually mention his name, rekindling the pain and bringing up the realization that he continues to live his life while she feels she is stagnating in the past. This difference in pace between them only intensifies the feeling of emptiness and regret. As these memories accumulate, they become emotional ghosts that haunt her, constantly reminding her of her insecurities and the impermanence of relationships. She mentally revisits conversations and moments, trying to find clues as to where she went wrong or what she could have done differently. However, the tragedy of these memories is that, even if she tries to recreate or relive those moments, the emotional connection that once existed cannot be replicated. He has changed, she has changed, and the dynamic between them is no longer the same. This realization of irreversibility forces her to confront the harsh reality that she has lost something irreplaceable. Over time, these memories can become a significant obstacle to moving on. The woman finds herself in an emotional dilemma. Leaving these memories behind can feel like a betrayal of what was, while clinging to them prevents her from making room for new connections. This internal conflict often results in a cycle of toxic nostalgia, where the past seems more attractive than any possibility of the future. However, these memories, although painful, also hold valuable lessons. They force a woman to recognize the importance of valuing people while they are present and to reflect on how to build healthier and more meaningful relationships. Although the memories of a high-value man can be difficult to overcome, they can also serve as catalysts for personal growth, helping her to better understand her own emotions, priorities, and what she really wants in a future connection. Thus, the weight of memories is not only an emotional prison, but also an opportunity for transformation. By accepting the impermanence of these memories and using them as tools for learning, she can find a way to overcome the pain and eventually rediscover her inner strength. Echoing regret, reflections on what could have been. As the pain of loss sets in, introspection becomes inevitable, like a shadow that accompanies her in every moment of silence. The woman begins to revisit her actions, words, and decisions, endlessly searching for answers to what went wrong. Regret emerges as a constant weight, squeezing her chest and bringing up difficult questions. Was I too cold? Did I give importance to the wrong things? Why didn't I see what was right next to me? These questions are not just rhetorical. They push her into an incessant cycle of mental revisions that often leave her more confused and emotionally exhausted. She remembers specific moments, such as a conversation interrupted by impatience or a gesture of affection that she ignored. Every detail that once seemed insignificant now takes on a new meaning, becoming part of an emotional puzzle that she is trying to piece together. The cycle of what-ifs dominates her thoughts. What if I had been kinder? What if I had paid more attention to the things he valued? What if I had shown him how important he was to me? These questions become a kind of self-imposed punishment, a search for answers that she knows she may never find. Regret, although painful, carries with it a powerful message. It points to the realization that the connection she had with this man was unique and, in many ways, irreplaceable. He wasn't just another partner. He was someone who provided stability, understanding, and inspiration. This realization amplifies the pain of loss and forces her to confront the truth that her actions, or lack thereof, contributed to the denouement. regret can feel overwhelming, but it is also a gateway to something greater: personal growth. In this process of self-reflection, she begins to understand that pain is not just a punishment, but an opportunity for transformation. Introspection, although initially bitter, can lead her to recognize patterns in her behavior, fears, and choices. Perhaps she realizes that she avoided vulnerability for fear of getting hurt, or that she prioritized social expectations over her own feelings. These discoveries are not easy, but they represent an important step towards evolution. The journey of introspection and repentance is like going through an emotional storm. Each flash of lightning brings new clarity, but also illuminates parts of her that she would rather keep hidden. As she accepts these difficult truths, a desire to do things differently in the future, to build healthier connections, and to value what really matters begins to emerge. This self-reflection forces her to see that even if the high-value man she lost doesn't come back, the experience can transform her into a more aware, empathetic, and emotionally mature person. Regret stops being just a constant pain and becomes a catalyst for a new beginning. The irresistible longing attempts to recapture the unrecoverable. With the passage of time, the desire to reconnect with the man you've lost becomes overwhelming, almost uncontrollable. This need goes beyond simple nostalgia. It is an internal cry to restore something that she has realized is irreplaceable. The memories of conversations, moments of silent support, and constant presence transform him in her mind from a lost partner to a symbol of stability and emotional comfort. The woman starts sending casual, seemingly innocent messages such as, "Hi, I remembered you today." However, these messages are not just demonstrations of affection or curiosity. They carry a deeper and more calculated purpose: to probe the possibility of getting back together, gauge his mood, and in a way regain the emotional control she feels she has lost. When these attempts are met with resistance, whether through a lack of response or short, polite answers, the emotional impact is significant. She begins to question not only what she has lost, but also her own worth. The lack of reciprocity touches on her insecurities, leading her to wonder if he has already moved on or if he has simply decided that it's not worth getting back together. These doubts feed the cycle of introspection and regret, further amplifying the desire to reconnect. However, the high-value man, now more aware of his own dignity and the respect he deserves, does not allow himself to give in easily to these onslaughts. He recognizes the pattern of behavior that drove him away and stands firm in his decision. For him, reconnection would only make sense if there was a genuine and profound change, both in attitudes and in the dynamic between them. His strength in resisting attempts to reconnect is not only a reflection of his emotional independence, but also a powerful message. He is not willing to return to a relationship that diminishes or disrespects him. This unexpected resistance, in turn, intensifies the woman's desire, turning it almost into an obsession. She begins to realize that she cannot simply go back in time and recover what she has lost. It is at this moment that the conflicting emotions, regret, insecurity, and longing, reach a peak. She tries to understand what she could do to reverse the situation, but the more she searches, the more she realizes that it's not just about what she wants, but about how he feels and what he believes is best for himself. Faced with continual rejection, the woman is forced to deal with a new reality: that the desire to reconnect does not guarantee that the bond will be re-established. This realization, although painful, carries with it a valuable lesson. She begins to understand that reconnection cannot be forced, and that mutual respect and genuine transformation are essential for any attempt to reconnect to be successful. The frustrated desire to reconnect can be a catalyst for personal growth. In dealing with rejection, she learns that certain opportunities, once lost, cannot be regained. This experience, although bitter, teaches her the importance of valuing people while they are present and investing in relationships in a healthy and respectful way. The man of high value doesn't just resist, he inspires. His firmness and clarity show women that true growth begins with taking responsibility and recognizing the consequences of one's actions. In the end, the desire for reconnection stops being just about the other person and becomes a journey of reconnection with herself. It is in this process that she discovers that even if he doesn't come back, the lessons learned can guide her to build more solid and meaningful relationships in the future. Unique and irreplaceable, the understanding that transforms. As the woman immerses herself in her emotions, an inevitable point of clarity emerges. The man she has lost is truly unique and unrepeatable. This understanding goes beyond physical absence or emotional emptiness. It's about the deep and singular connection that existed between them, a connection she realizes she won't find again with anyone else. He represented a rare combination of emotional stability, self-reliance, and genuine presence, qualities that, in retrospect, she failed to fully appreciate. This realization is painful and overwhelming, as it forces the woman to confront the fact that what she had was extraordinary, and that she allowed it to slip through her fingers. Over time, this realization is not only a reminder of what was lost, but also a mirror of the actions and choices that led her here. She begins to realize that no other man can offer the same kind of understanding and emotional support that he did. Not only did he understand her on a deep level, but he also kept his own values and boundaries intact, even in the most challenging moments of the relationship. This level of maturity and emotional balance is rare, and this rarity makes the loss all the more difficult to accept. This realization provokes a series of profound reflections. She begins to re-evaluate how she sees relationships and what she expects from an emotional connection. Regret for not having recognized his value when she had the chance weighs heavily on her shoulders, but it also serves as a call to action. For the first time, she understands that actions have lasting consequences and that certain opportunities in life cannot be relived or replaced. This epiphany is not only about him, but also about herself, her flaws, her standards, and how much she needs to grow. Meanwhile, the high-value man who walked away with dignity and emotional control comes to be seen as a symbol of everything she has lost. His decision not to accept less than he deserves demonstrates his strength of character and his ability to move on, even when it means leaving behind something he valued. This stance not only reinforces the respect she feels for him, but also adds to the weight of the loss. He is no longer someone she can take for granted, but a person who has chosen to live according to his own principles and values, making it clear that his self-sufficiency is unshakable. This change in perspective brings her to a turning point. The realization that he is unrepeatable is not only a reminder of what has been lost, but also an opportunity for her to re-evaluate her own life. She realizes that she can no longer live on the basis of regrets and idealizations. Instead, she starts looking for ways to become someone who could have valued and kept someone like him in her life. This realization marks the beginning of a process of self-transformation, where she decides to work on herself, whether it's cultivating greater empathy, developing her emotional intelligence, or setting healthier standards for her future relationships. At the same time, this realization about unrepeatability also brings a new understanding about the nature of relationships. Not all connections are meant to last forever, but each one carries invaluable lessons. For her, losing this high-value man is a painful but necessary lesson in the importance of recognizing and valuing what is truly important before it's too late. Finally, the realization that he is unique leaves her not only with a sense of loss, but also with a new determination. She understands that although she can never replace him, she can use what she has learned from this experience to grow and create more authentic and meaningful future connections. This emotional journey therefore becomes not only a story of regret, but also of hope and transformation. Towards self-reliance, the journey of growth. While the woman is lost in a whirlwind of reflections and regrets, the high-value man continues on his path towards personal growth. He understands that his value does not depend on the perception of others, but is deeply rooted in how he sees himself and the way he chooses to live his life. For him, loss is not a defeat, but an opportunity to redirect his energy and reaffirm his values. He doesn't let himself be consumed by passing emotions or memories of what was, but focuses on shaping his future with purpose and clarity. This ability to stand firm in the midst of adversity is not just a show of strength, but proof of their emotional maturity. This journey of growth is not a linear or easy process. He faces his own challenges and doubts, but chooses to face them with resilience. He dedicates time to himself, whether it's investing in his professional development, improving personal skills, or cultivating healthy and enriching relationships. He recognizes that true strength comes from within, and that relying on the validation of others would make him vulnerable to damaging emotional cycles. This emotional autonomy is what makes him even more attractive and inspiring, not only to those who observe him from afar, but also to himself. Meanwhile, the woman, still stuck in her cycle of regret, begins to realize the depth of the impact he has had on her life. However, while observing his journey, she also has the chance to reflect on her own life. His actions and strength serve as a catalyst for her to begin her own journey of growth. The pain of loss, although initially paralyzing, offers an opportunity for deeper introspection. She realizes that, in order to truly move forward, she needs to face her insecurities and failures, turning them into life lessons. The contrast between them is striking. He moves forward with confidence, shaping a clear path for himself, while she deals with the echoes of the past. However, this difference need not be permanent. The woman, recognizing the strength of the man she has lost, can use this inspiration to initiate her own transformation. Instead of focusing only on what has been lost, she can learn to value what the experience has revealed about herself, her weaknesses, but also her potential for change. The high-value man also demonstrates that personal growth is not just about moving forward, but about redefining priorities. He leaves behind any dynamics that diminish him, standing firm in his commitment to live a life that reflects his principles. He understands that true success is not measured by what others think, but by the integrity with which he leads his life. This ability to stay true to himself is the greatest lesson he can leave behind, and this lesson has the power to transform the way she sees herself and her future relationships. Although their journeys are different, both offer powerful insights. The high-value man stands out as someone who chooses to grow regardless of the circumstances. He is not limited by what he has lost, but by what he can achieve. And by observing him, the woman has the opportunity to turn her regret into learning. This experience, although painful, can become a milestone in her life, the moment when she decides to reinvent herself, leaving behind the cycles of regret and embracing a future in which she too is a person of high value. Ultimately, this path of personal growth is not just about moving forward, but about learning to live with authenticity and purpose. As he moves forward, she can choose to do the same, turning the pain of loss into a powerful lesson that will shape her future. Everyone's journey is unique, but the message remains. True strength lies in the ability to learn, grow, and create a better future, regardless of the past. And so we conclude our analysis of the emotional journey of a woman who realizes the loss of a high-value man. We've gone through the initial impact, the painful introspection, and the desire to reconnect, until we reach the transformation that this experience can bring. But remember, the real value lies in personal evolution, both for those who leave and for those who stay. If you like this content, like the video, subscribe to the channel and share it with those who need to reflect on the power of relationships. Until next time, and keep looking for the best in every step of your journey.